back and watch.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Sporadic Gaming Podcast. I am D. This is my brother Devin, and we are going to talk a lot about this week because so much has happened. The Summer Games Fest just ended, and we got a lot to say. But before we get into any of that, let's do our normal. Devin, what have you been up to? What have you been playing this week?
What have I been playing this week? This week has been a little bit of a hectic week for games.
A little bit.
A little bit. So I've obviously been playing some Night Rain since Night Rain has been out. So I've been playing a little bit of that. Haven't played too much, but enjoying that. I just beat Fallen Order for my second time.
Nice.
So I think this might be a little bit of an annual thing. So I've just started Survivor. I started it the same night. So, oh man, I'm loving these games. If you guys are Star Wars fans and you've not beaten Fallen Order, highly, highly recommend. That game is great. I was stuck on the final boss of that game for 45 minutes and I died 23 times. It took me 2 hours, but I beat Promised Consort Radon at the end of Elden Ring in 22 tries. Like I died 22 times in Promised Consort Radon, and I died 23 times against the final boss of Fallen Order. So Fallen Order is harder than Elden Ring, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the point.
That's the takeaway here.
That's the point. That's the takeaway. Is that it's harder. But yeah, no. So I've just been playing that, and obviously I'm still not off my Battlefront 2 grind. It's been it, but that's it. Those 3 games, I guess.
Heck yeah, man. No, Fallen Order is unironically so good. Phenomenal game. I still haven't beaten Survivor myself, but Fallen Order was something special, I'm telling you.
Yeah, for sure. Survivor's good too. I'm enjoying it, but I am hard stuck on an optional boss and I can't leave until I beat it. So
God, I'm getting Ogdo Bogdo flashbacks. That was my
No, it's Spawn of Ogdo.
Oh my god, seriously?
Yeah, I beat Ogdo Bogdo in Fallen Order on my second try.
Oh
not
my,
a hard
I hate
boss.
you. No, I hate you. Oh my god.
Dude, just parry. Like, it's actually like I beat him in like 30 seconds.
Dude, every single time.
I thought I was gonna do the same thing, and he's impossible.
Every single time I get stuck in something in a video game, you're like, oh, I did it my 3rd try. And I'm like, dude, I hate you so much. Final Fantasy X Chocobo Race, like, come on, get out of here.
2 hours. For my first attempt, it took me 2 hours. My second attempt, I got it. Literally, second try.
I know, I hate you. What? Such a terrible person. Why are you even my brother?
What about you? What have you been playing?
Yeah, no, it's been a busy week for me too. I mentioned I've been playing some Horizon Modern Warfare. I finished the camo grind in Horizon Modern Warfare, which is crazy because that's not even a real Call of Duty game, but I sure did the camo grind for it. So I did that, and then the Switch 2 came out. So I've been playing Mario Kart World, and I have a lot of thoughts about Mario Kart World, but I think we're probably gonna make that a segment in an upcoming podcast episode. Oh my gosh, can't speak today. So we won't speak too much about Mario Kart World today, but I will say, for anybody curious, I do like it. I have issues, but I like the game. So that's all that really matters.
That'll hold you till probably next week.
That'll hold you for now. And so yeah, I've just been playing, Mario Kart and just some other like Switch 1 games that have been kind of like updated on Switch 2 and just kind of like feeling it out, having a good time. There's actually some Switch 1 games that I never bothered to like go back to, so getting an excuse to kind of play those has been nice.
Are you gonna play through Tears of the Kingdom at some point?
I will. Yeah, I was kind of waiting for a moment like this, so this will be my time to shine. Get some Tears of the Kingdom going. Get some other games too, like Odyssey got patched. Odyssey looks great. Pretty much all the platformer Mario games like 3D World, and obviously Odyssey, New Super Mario Bros. U. They did like a lot of work with a lot of those games, and there's some games that weren't patched that I'm kind of hoping do get patched later on, but we'll see. Overall, though, I've been enjoying my time.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's what we've been up to, but what has the gaming industry been up to? Because this has been a crazy week. I have so many thoughts on so many things, so I'm so excited to get started. You and I have only barely gotten a chance to talk about some of these reveals, so.
Yeah, so for everyone listening or watching, we've only kind of discussed, like had a full discussion on the state of play. and like in passing the Summer Games Fest from what, Friday.
Hmm.
Um, and we've not talked about the Xbox showcase
Yeah,
at
that's
all
too
because that
fresh.
happened.
That's too
It's
fresh.
too fresh.
We are actually we
So
don't usually do this, but we are recording this episode the same day it goes live. So this is
yeah,
as fresh as you're gonna be able to get it. This is Monday morning.
yeah. So we're definitely have a lot to talk about. Where do you want to start?
Well,
You
I think
take the
I think I
reins.
think it's important we just start at the beginning. So what was the first event that happened? It was the State of Play. Let's go ahead and start with Sony on this, and we can work our way through chronologically. So
Okay.
I'll actually open it up. I'm
Journey
actually
us.
gonna
Journey
yeah,
us.
I'm gonna open it up to you first because I have a lot to say about a couple of these. So I would like to know, out of everything at the State of Play, what kind of stood out to you specifically? What were some things that you thought you might be interested in, or maybe had some things to say about?
So okay, I enjoyed the State of Play. I enjoyed it a lot after we had our conversation afterwards. I took a little bit of convincing for some of these reveals to kind of like get everything down. There's the obvious one that I think we should save until the end.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
we gotta save
I'll wait for that.
that.
But I was very excited for some pretty cool games. Anchors Away, that game looks so much fun. Turn
Or wait, you
based. The
mean
trailer
Sea of
was
Remnants?
really. Oh yeah, Sea of Remnants.
Yeah,
Sorry,
the
Sea of
stupid
Remnants.
thumbnail, it gets me every time too.
Every time, yeah. Sea of Remnants. Sorry, that game looks really fun. Turn based, pirate like looking adventure, looks so entertaining. 007 First Light
Yeah,
is like everything I want in a James Bond game.
I'm
It's
really
giving
excited.
very much so John Wick vibes. And Neo 3, I'm excited for Neo 3.
Yeah.
Um Neo 1 was really good. I never played Neo 2. So I also never beat Neo 1. So this one looked a little bit more my vibe. So I'll see. I'm probably gonna pick that one up. But yeah, those were the three big ones that
Yeah.
stood out. Obviously, minus the one I'm
Yeah.
specifically not talking about. But absolutely loved those three specifically.
Yeah, yeah. Now Neo is, for those who aren't super initiated on that, it's Team Ninja's like Souls like clone basically. Um it's super action heavy, a lot of parrying, a lot of stuff. And I've always been like a from a distance Souls appreciator and from soft enjoyer. But now that I've like 100% at Elden Ring, and now that I feel confident, I actually really do want to go back and play Neo. I feel like I would enjoy it more now. Now that I've had that experience with Elden Ring and stuff like that. So I plan on playing the other FromSoft games too. But I think it's still cool to see Neo, and it's also funny too because clearly Rise of the Ronin was something they were working on more as like a side project while they were really working on Neo 3. So
Yeah,
it's
for
cool to
sure.
see that series is still continuing because that was a little bit up in the air for a while. Some people thought it wasn't happening, that they just weren't going to make a Neo 3, but they're making a third one and it looks pretty good being able to switch between like two different fighting styles at once, having like the traditional samurai, Bushido stuff, and then going like full ninja with like more agility and stuff. I thought it looked really interesting. That's not
I think
normally how the
stances are
game plays.
definitely
Yeah,
I think stances are definitely something that the gaming industry has been doing a lot in these action games. You know what I mean?
for sure.
We were just talking about Fallen Order and Survivor. Survivor has 5 stance types that everyone has been like super in love with,
Yeah.
and I feel like you can see it a lot, definitely in like games having different like play styles. And I think Elden Ring's a big contributor to that of
Oh,
being
big
like,
time.
oh no, you get to play the game however you want. If you want to hulk around with a giant axe or like punch a thing to death, I just feel like recently it's been evolved a lot even in these kinds of games. So I'm excited for it.
Oh, absolutely. No, I think, and then obviously like 007 being made by the Hitman developers, that is such like we talk about like perfect casting in movies and stuff, but I feel like it's important in games too. Like when a developer gets their hands on an IP, like sometimes it's just the right fit. It's the perfect cast. Like Hitman devs making a James Bond game. I couldn't have cast it better myself. That's perfect. That's awesome. And clearly they care
Yeah.
about it. It seems to be they're going with like a more traditional like origin story type younger Bond. But as a Bond fan myself, like there's a lot in there that I had that I was like looking at that I got really excited about. And it also, as far as like the gameplay styles and stuff goes, like I think the Hitman guys are the right ones to do that kind of espionage, that kind of like stealth, but action still combat. Like I'm excited to see what they can do. I think I think I'm really looking forward to that. It leaked unfortunately before the show, and I wasn't excited about it. I was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever, James Bond game. We've had so many of those, but then I realized how long it's been since we had one, and then I realized who was making it, like, and then seeing it on screen, like, it all kind of came together in the end, and I was like, okay, yeah, no, I actually am really excited for this.
No, for sure. It looks so enjoyable. I'm so excited for that James Bond game.
As far as some other like main highlights from the show, I know you and I talked about this a little bit, but Luminous is coming back. It's been a while since that series has been a thing. It was mostly popular on like the PSP and stuff like that back in the day. So to see it kind of getting resurgence, I mean, they did a remaster I think in like 2018 or 2017 or something. So the game's been around, but getting a new entry by the Tetris Effect devs, that's another perfect cast. Like super music focused, super visual experience. I'm really excited about Luminous. To get news about Pragmata again too. That's that Capcom game that they announced like 5 years ago. Even funny too, because when they initially revealed it, they had that sticky note at the end of the trailer that said like, "Oh yeah, this is coming out in like 2022 or whatever." Then in the next trailer, when they announced that it was getting delayed, they like scratched out at the end of the trailer. They like, scratched out on the sticky note 2022 and then wrote like 2023. And then the next time it got delayed, it was an indefinite delay. Like it was like we don't know when this is coming out. So they scratched out 2023 and put a question mark. And then in this trailer, because it's been years now, in this trailer at the very end, it shows the same sticky note and then 2026. Like they scratched out the question mark and wrote 2026, and then at the bottom said it's real smiley face. And I was like, that's like so funny. Like they're being pretty tongue in cheek about this. Apparently, I mean, this game seems to have been kind of passed around a bit, but it's Capcom. It's a third person action adventure game by Capcom, so I'm assuming it's gonna feel pretty like Resident Evil E as far as the combat goes, but it looks interesting. I don't have anything really to say about it, but I think it's just interesting that it's like still around and that they're really pushing it. I love Capcom, so I'm excited to see like what they do with it. Suda51 announced a new game. We have that Romeo is a Dead Man game. I actually was more excited about it until you actually kind of like brought me back a little bit, because you're right. I do feel like going for the more generic realism art style hurt the presentation a
It
bit.
hurt it a lot because that
Yeah,
introduction was like so cool. That art style was quirky, Even the cover art is taken from that part of the
yeah.
presentation. And then it was like holy airball, dude. You went and had like this amazingly cool, awesome art style. This like fun kind of like oh like it's like this serious thing,
Yeah.
but it's like taken in that unserious light, very Sunset Overdrive.
Very well,
And
very
then
Suda. Like all of Suda's games are
yeah, very Suda.
very visually distinct. He's got a very distinct art style. I mean, you've seen Killer 7. Like that's such a
Yeah.
weird looking game, and I feel like we haven't seen all of this game clearly. And at the very end of the trailer, it looks like the game is going to switch art styles mid game very often. But for being a Suda 51 game to show like the opening cutscenes of like very weird visual style, like very, not weird, but like very artistic visual style, to then go to a more generic style for gameplay. I do agree that kind of hurt the presentation a little bit, but I'm still very excited. I love all of Suda51's games, so I'm interested to see what he's gonna, him and his team are gonna be able to pull off with this one. It seems to be more of like an action style, like combat hack and slash, kind of like No More Heroes. But we'll have to see how it plays. It looked interesting though, and I'm very excited for it to kind of see how that turns into. Another game that I think I'm really excited for, but visually the trailer was not super great, was Bloodstained: The Scarlet Engagement. So we're getting a new Bloodstained mainline game. I love the first Bloodstained game very much. So to get another one's cool. Looks like you're going to be able to switch characters on the fly. I was reading the blog post and they talked about that a little bit, where you can press a button, switch between the two main characters. Very cool. Visually, though, it did seem a little lacking, especially in comparison to the original game, but who knows? Maybe that'll get polished up before launch. Maybe it's just kind of a weird trailer thing. We'll see. Other crazy things like Final Fantasy Tactics, getting that remastered. I mean, that's been talked about for ages, so to get that finally coming is very cool. Getting a fully voiced, version of Final Fantasy Tactics with like a new visual style. I thought I was actually underwhelmed at first watching the trailer. I thought they just like AI upscaled the pixel art. That was my initial like conclusion that I came to after watching the trailer. But after like going through and reading a lot about the game and looking at it again, it actually does appear that they put a lot more work into it than that, and it's not just like an AI upscale or something. It appears that they like hand drew a lot of the new art for this and then like rendered it in like watercolory kind of like filter. It's weird. It's got a very weird, distinct visual style, but it actually looks pretty good. It still doesn't look as good as like, I know everyone says like we don't need more HD 2D games, but like I would have preferred probably just doing HD 2D for this. But I think it looks great, and the cast is already phenomenal. They already are bringing a lot of like Final Fantasy 16 voice cast into this. Like Ben Starr is going to be in this, like, and I love him clearly. So very excited for Final Fantasy Tactics. What else was there that I thought was pretty cool? I mean, you had obviously like some trailers of games we already knew about, like getting more Metal Gear Solid Delta, getting more Ninja Gaiden Ragebound was always cool. Um, there was that first look at oh my gosh, what was the game? I'm trying to like find it here. The first look at Hiragami is what it was. The art style, like the foldy origami game. That one didn't appeal to me when I was watching it. Like I didn't like recognize it at first when I was watching the event, but watching the trailers back, that game actually looks pretty good. I'm gonna keep my eye on that because it
I was
pretty
definitely
good.
walking out of the event very excited about Hiragami. I feel like it's gonna be fun. I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna pick it up, maybe play it for like 10 hours, and then never touch it again. But
Well, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Some games are just like that, and you get to have a little bit of time with them, and then you get to move on, and that's okay. Like that's probably what I'm going to be like with Sword of the Sea. Like those games, like the games like Abzu and Journey and stuff. Like I've only ever played them once each, but like I had a good time. I played them, I moved on. And Sword of the Sea, especially because it's coming up to PS Plus. Like I'll probably just pick it up and play it, and not really worry too much about it. But
for
it looks
sure,
good. I like their games. They're very atmospheric and stuff. And there was some other cool things like Thief is getting a VR game. Some people are upset that it's a VR game, but I think it's cool. Thief is coming back at all. And getting a VR game is like perfect for a game like Thief, like a series like that. Um, and then we'll, obviously, now talking about some other stuff, some fighting game stuff. Getting the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection is super good. They haven't announced every game that's going to be in there, but I'm hoping that they give us some of the PS2 games. Even if it's just Mortal Kombat
definitely.
1 through 4, I'm okay with that, but they better do another collection for the PS2 games. Like that would be so awesome. But
That
getting
would be.
getting a digital Eclipse Mortal Kombat Legacy thing, like that's super nice. Mortal Kombat
How do
deserved
you
it.
feel about the fight stick, the
I
PlayStation
was just
fight
gonna
stick
say, yeah,
announced?
like that's also super cool. Sony's been saying for a while that they really want to take this fighting game stuff super seriously. They bought Evo. They've been running, these fighting game stuff for like the last 10 or so years, like with Street Fighter Five. Like they were, really pushing that for a long time as like the exclusive stuff. So I think they're taking it seriously, and I think nothing else proves that more than their final announcement of the show.
100%. This is the game of
The
all
game.
time, dude. Yeah, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. Dude,
Yeah,
that trailer. We're gonna talk about another tag fighting game today
we
that
are.
I'm very excited for. Um, I was talking to this with Damien before the podcast. It was when we were talking about the state of play. I think Arc System Works is the perfect person or perfect developers to get in the studio when you're making a game that's accessible for non-fighting game fans and fighting game fans. Like I feel like it does a great job at mending that with Grand Blue Fantasy versus Guilty Gear Strive, Dragon Ball Fighters, DNF Duel. This game, there are going to be children playing this game because
Yeah.
it's Marvel. They are going to need to have it, and I trust no one else's hands with this game than Arc System Works. I'm so excited.
Yeah, they do a really good job of not just dumbing the game down, but instead just like doing things to make the game more accessible and still maintain its high skill ceiling. Like no one's going to go out there and
Yeah.
claim that Guilty Gear Strive or Fighters don't have a high skill ceiling, but they are two of the most accessible fighting games on the market. So I'm sure, especially with the 4v4 format, like there's going to be some crazy stuff in this game, but at the very least, with it being ArcSys, with it being Marvel, because it is a Marvel 4v4 tag fighting game by Arc System Works, the Guilty Gear devs. Like this is gonna be huge, and I'm so excited for it. I mean, it turned Maximilian into Crash Bandicoot the way he was saying "whoa" and just yeah, like it. This is a crazy announcement. And for it to be a Sony first party thing with XDev helping out, and like this is the big Arxis game that they've been developing for the last like 4 or 5 years. Like we thought it was like going to be Fighters 2 or something, but honestly, and I'm going to be real here, I'm more happy with this, I think.
Fighters 2 would have been sick. That was a big talk,
Or like a
especially on
Naruto
like
fighter or One
on
Piece
like
fighter or
yeah.
something like that, right? But I'm actually really happy it's
I,
Marvel.
I think I think Marvel's been having a very good run in 2025 right now, you know,
Yeah.
with the release of Thunderbolts being as huge as it is and everyone loving it. Rivals and now this, like
Don't forget Cosmic
Marvel right
Invasion.
now, well,
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about
talk
that.
about that in a bit.
But you know, Marvel's having a really good run this year, and I think this game is going to be that cherry on top. The 8 characters that they showed off were fan favorites. It's
Yeah.
it's at first I thought it was going to be a like Civil War game, and then I was like, wait, when they showed I think Storm or no, I think Spider-Man was the first tag or whatever. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
if I see um a Capcom character, and this is MVC, this is an MVC game, I was gonna flip. And then when it showed the shitty city streets during the interview, I was like, oh, we're gonna see Ken. And then it was like actually just an interview. Then talking about the game, I was like,
So
my
many people were
bad.
so thrown off by that at the end of the trailer where it switches to the interview stuff. Everyone was so thrown off. Like I was seeing people being like Yakuza, like people like freaking out. Just didn't know
I
what to look
was
at.
I was so confused because it like ends and it like shows the thing, and then
Hmm.
it looks like that like I thought it was gonna say like not actual gameplay written at the bottom of the screen,
It
and it
it
didn't.
looked like it was gonna be
And
like I can't even blame people. It looked like it was formatted like it was gonna be more trailer, but then it
yes, I was like,
switched. Yeah.
and then because then it like looked like real life, so I'm like, are we gonna see like them fighting in the street, like Street Fighter? Like we're gonna see some Capcom characters fight each other, and then it's gonna be like MVC like what 4, 5, 4,
It'd be four. It'd be
5,
four. Yeah.
4,
Well, I'm sure
MVC
you saw
4.
the memes that were all like wake up, Marvel 4, Marvel 4, and everyone's like, what? And it's like, yeah, Marvel 4v4 arena fighter or a tag fighter by
Yeah,
Arxis.
yeah, I saw that on Blue. I got tagged in that on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, super. I'm so excited for this, and again, I don't want you guys to think that we're saying these jokes like, oh, it could have been MVC4, it could have been this,
Oh
as
yeah,
a
no.
bad thing
Yeah,
about this
not at
game.
all.
It was just something we thought of in the moment and wanted to share because this looks amazing,
It's
and
Marvel, baby.
I will be playing Robert Downey Jr. And take that as what you will. If
Yeah.
I'm playing,
Iron Man,
decide
Doctor
who
Doom.
I'm playing.
No, so
Um,
I'm obviously super excited for this. I love MVC, but also I love Arxis, and I think if you're not doing MVC, and clearly I think MVC is done. I think this is kind of like this is the confirmation it's just not happening. At least not for a while, like not anytime soon. If anyone else is going to take a crack at this IP, I'm glad it was Arxis. Their visual style,
no,
their
for sure.
gameplay, balance decisions, like I trust them with my life. And this game already looks and sounds phenomenal. And them going with like the full tokusatsu, like Super Sentai inspired style for a lot of this stuff seems super awesome. And then you read like the blog post and they talk about how like Marvel gave them complete total creative freedom to like make this game how they wanted to. That is amazing to me. Like they even offered like in the post they say that the developers were like, hey, like do you want us to make this look like a comic book? Like we could like how do you want the visual style? And then Marvel basically was just like whatever you want to do, and that's complete total trust and freedom. Like I think that's what Marvel's been doing is just putting faith into the developers that are working on their projects and then giving them the freedom and the resources to make it happen. This is clearly a big budget game. There's money
Oh,
being poured
for
into this both from
sure.
Marvel and from Sony and from all the other like avenues and resources like but they just gave them free creative control to do this and it clearly is paid off. So that is my game of show from this event by far. Not
100%.
even
It,
close. It's by
it's
far.
it's not close. It was the best thing revealed at that event, and I think it's the second best thing revealed the entire week, dude.
I'm
It's
I'm
great.
piggybacking between this and one other game.
Well,
and
I
it's
know exactly
probably
what
the
we're
other one.
piggybacking between,
So
and we'll talk about that in the Xbox section.
yeah.
Um, uh, or do you want to move on, or do you have more to say
Yeah, no,
about
I think I
Tokon?
think I think that's all to say about Tokon. The Sony State of Play, I think it was really good. I feel like there's a lot of mixed opinions on this because this was so Japanese.
Yeah,
And so online, a lot of people who don't like Japanese games, like they didn't have anything here except for like 007. But as a huge Japanese game appreciator like myself, I'm just so happy to see that like Sony's really embracing that Japanese root again. Um, and this is very promising to me. I just this has me excited for the future of like what PlayStation's doing, and these games are looking great. So I'm very excited. I think this was a good state of play. Probably one of my favorites, to be honest.
yeah,
But
I agree.
and now that that's out of the way, that's done, we can get on to the main Friday show. So, the Summer Games Fest main show, hosted by my boy Jeff Keighley,
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley, and his boyfriend Hideo Kojima. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, they. I feel like this show had a lot of really crazy individual announcements that kind of got like buried underneath, and for lack of a better term, I'm just going to say slop. And I don't mean that offensively. I just mean like a lot of this blended together. So I would actually say this is probably the weakest show of the weekend. But then you look at like the list of things that got announced and you're like, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. So I feel like I'm crazy. Like I feel like I'm crazy. Like like what's wrong with me that I didn't like this show that much? But then I look through and I'm like, wow, like some of these announcements are really big. I feel like I'm the weird one here.
I definitely think there's some really big announcements. The stuff that really stood out to me, obviously that Deadpool VR
We're
game.
gonna talk about the thing
Um,
last, by the way, just so you're aware. Okay. Yeah,
yes.
just making sure. Okay, cool. Keep going.
Uh, yeah, the Deadpool VR game, and you're talking about the thing that's listed last here. Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm just making sure because
Yeah.
that's obviously the biggest thing that was announced. But yeah, so the Deadpool VR game, the Lies of P DLC, um, the seeing the Jurassic World Evolution 3 or
Yeah,
whatever that thing,
I
I
like
thought
the
looked
Jurassic World
interesting.
Evolution games. I think that's like the perfect like park sim. Like if you're making a Jurassic World game, you're gonna make a park sim. Like that's so perfect. And Evolution 1 was really good. I never played 2, but you know, the fact that they're still making these, that's awesome. So I like that.
So, are we gonna talk about a certain sequel, or do you want to save that one too?
We can talk about that in a little bit. Let's kind of go through here. I mean,
Alright.
they opened with Mortal Shell 2, which looked phenomenal. I've never played Mortal Shell, but I've heard of it, and that trailer sold me on it. So I'm actually probably gonna go play the first one. That one looked really great. They showed off a little cutscene for Death Stranding 2. They showed off more gameplay later this weekend. I didn't actually watch that, but I think it looks great. It's a Hideo Kojima game, so I'm going to be excited for it because I actually do really like Hideo Kojima and his team. So I thought that looked good. They showed off Sonic Racing Crossworlds. They finally showed off the DLC for that game. And what do you think about Sonic Racing Crossworlds? By the way, are you kind of excited
Oh,
for it? It looks
am
kind
I
of good,
kind of
man. It looks kind
excited?
of good.
I'm very excited about the new Sonic Racing game. I was a big fan of Transform,
Yeah, me
as were
too.
you. It's that was a really fun game. Um, and revealing those four specific
Yeah, it
characters
was Miku or
were
Hatsune Miku, Joker, Ichiban
Ichiban
from Like a Dragon, and then
and
DLC
Steve.
pack for Steve. Yeah, Minecraft. Yeah,
So I'm so excited for playing as Joker now in another
yeah,
game. It's an addiction. It's
yeah. The
you
more
know,
the more games that he's featured in, like it's just
the
his
more
power
games I'm gonna
grows.
play him in.
His power
It- It's
grows.
it's it's like okay, I obviously play him in the three Persona 5 games, and then I play him in Persona or not Persona, Smash,
Yeah,
and like all this stuff. So like more Joker stuff. Very excited about. And then Steve is just hilarious, and Hatsune Miku and Steve being in the same game, I think is
that's
so
amazing.
funny.
Just bringing Hatsune Miku into any game is always a recipe for hilarity.
Yeah, like when she was in Fortnite. That's great.
I missed
That's
her in
amazing.
Fortnite, dude. I didn't get her. I'm kind of sad. I missed her. I don't
I
even
didn't
play Fortnite. I don't play Fortnite. I just log on for events so I can get characters I like, and that's it.
actually so real. I spend so much money on that stupid
I
game and
know, it's so
I
ridiculous.
don't play it.
I literally don't play it. But no, Crossworlds looks
Uh
great. I'm very
yeah.
excited. Code Vein
Splitgate
2.
2.
Oh, and Splitgate
Oh,
2. Well, I have some thoughts about that, so maybe we should talk about that in a little bit. But with Code Vein 2, none of us in the call called that it was Code Vein except for Rena. Rena was like, "This is Code Vein," and I'm like, "This doesn't look anything like Code Vein. What are you talking about?" I was we were like very very like convinced it wasn't Code Vein, and then the Code Vein 2 pops up at the end. So I never played Code Vein 1, but I heard moderately okay things about it. Rena's really recommended it though, so I might have to give it a shot.
yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, you want to talk about Splitgate
Uh,
2? Let's talk about Splitgate 2 because I have things to say.
that's where my brain went. I was like,
Yeah.
natural evolution. Uh, Splitgate 2. Okay, first inform everyone how you felt about Splitgate 1.
Okay, I like Splitgate 1 quite a bit. I played a good amount of it actually. And then I was just kind of disappointed that they stopped so early, but then they announced like, "Hey, we're only doing this because we need to put more of our effort into making a sequel. It's going to be bigger and better." You know, they were a smaller team and then Splitgate 1 popped off, made them a bunch of money. Well, now there's issues with with the first game that can really only be solved by making a second game. Okay, I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and I will just say right now, I've not yet played Splitgate 2, so I'm not going to speak about it from any sort of personal experience. However, a lot of the changes they made kind of turned me off a little bit, kind of swinging away more from that like traditional arena format into like more of almost like a hero shooter at times. I will just say, coming out on stage, wearing that hat, talking, saying the things he was talking about, to then announce the thing he announced, and then crash out about it on Twitter was ridiculous. So he comes out on stage wearing a Make FPS Great Again hat, which is already pretty tone deaf for your audience. Then he starts talking trash about COD, Halo, saying like, "Oh yeah, give us Titanfall 3. Oh, I'm tired of playing the same old COD, same old generic shooters or whatever." And then he announces a generic ass battle royale with Imagine Dragons music playing in the background, and then crashes out about it on Twitter when people start criticizing him and his game that has $80 microtransactions. Like, I'm gonna be real, that was so dumb, but it seems like at the very least, and this is all you can do from a situation like this, when you have bad PR in a bad moment, all you can do is honestly apologize, fix the issue, and then move on. That seems to be what they're doing. So he did say like, "Hey, like the hat was in bad taste, my bad." Like that wasn't supposed to be a political statement. That was just kind of like me trying to be like provocative, I guess, and it worked. It got him attention, you know. But
Yeah.
then the battle royale stuff, it's whatever. If you don't want it, just don't play it. That's not a huge deal. And then they did like
It's
reduce the prices on a lot of the microtransactions. Like they heard us. The game's getting a lot of attention, and clearly this was kind of more of like a provocative sort of like stunt. And I think it kind of backfired on them a little bit. But hopefully they kind of learned that lesson that you don't only get attention by just pissing people off.
I think battle royales as a whole have done so much good and bad
I
that I have
agree.
such a mixed relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the first part, battle royales got so many people into gaming. But now there's people that play games and only play battle royales, and so then it's like their battle royale of the week, and now every developer wants to get on the Fortnite train and
Yeah.
play their battle royale and have it be this whole thing. Genuinely, I think people need to just stop making battle royales and just let Apex, Warzone, and Fortnite dominate that market for until those games stop being fun.
I
Um,
I wanna disagree with you, but I feel like the actual issue is just there's with these live service games, and we've talked about this before, but with these live service games, there's just not enough time and attention to give to any to a lot of games. So people just pick the one they're most comfortable with or the one they like the most and then stick to that. A lot of people are just going to play Fortnite and Warzone and maybe like one other game. Like people aren't gonna be like, "Oh, new battle royale came out, cool, let's get into this." Like it's the same with like shooters. It's the same with fighting games. It's like there's the big ones and then there's the small ones, and the small ones rarely ever make it, at least for long term. because of that. And when you're making a live service only game whose only job is to generate revenue, that's why you see all these games close, is because like, yeah, like you can have a game that it's kind of fun, but if it's not good enough or it doesn't get enough attention, doesn't even matter if the game is good or not. I have my thoughts on certain games that have closed recently and their quality and maybe them not deserving it, but it doesn't even matter if the game is good. If not enough people play it, if you can't retain that player base, doesn't matter. So seeing another one pop up with controversy and all this stuff, like, it has me worried. Like, I don't want to get into another game if it's just going to shut down again, like the first Splitgate did, or like, like any of these other shooters have. So I get a little nervous. There's just not enough attention span out there. Like, everyone wants to make a live service game. Everyone wants the next Fortnite, but you can't just create the next Fortnite. That's not how this works.
No, that's not. And they want to jump in that train by following what Fortnite did.
Exactly. Instead of
And that's
paving
the
their own
problem.
way.
Is the reason why Fortnite was so popular is because it did its own thing. You need to now do your own thing, and were just running into a little bit of a
And
cycle.
that's why, unironically, that's why I think the finals has lasted this long and has been such a success. The finals is like one of the only shooters out there that every season it gets more players, because the finals is so unique compared to like a lot of the other games that once people realize how unique this game is, they hop on and they don't hop off. And if they do hop off, they come back. Like, there's no other game out there that gives you the finals gameplay experience. Therefore, the finals has value.
Yeah.
There's 100 other generic BRs and 100 other whatevers, but the finals gives you a very specific experience. And that's why I think that game has lasted so long. Whereas I get nervous whenever someone just announces new new generic shooter, new generic BR, like, without doing anything different. And Splitgate has the portal system, yes, but I don't know if that's enough. Like, we'll see. I have no ill will, and clearly this whole developer situation was a little bit overblown. But when it comes to Splitgate 2, I am open to trying it. I'm not really going to be too gung-ho to give them a bunch of money, but I'm open to trying it. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully they're able to prove me and my current conceptions about the game wrong, and hopefully it's a good time.
Yeah, definitely. And whatever happens with that game happens. I'm probably going to pick it up and play it for just the fact, just to get some reps in, but I don't know. Unless the game really blows me away, I don't think it's going to be a mainstay.
How did you feel about Mouse PI for Hire? That game got announced a while ago, and I've been watching the development pretty closely, and it's finally coming out. And honestly, I think that game's gonna be great. The like the rubber hose shooter detective game.
Yeah, I'm looking through it right now just to see Mouse PI for Hire, just to
refresh your memory on that. That game got announced ages ago. It's been in development for a long time by a pretty small team, and I think it looks pretty good. Kind of like a more classic shooter, but yeah.
I remember, I thought this game was so I had not heard about this until
the show.
The event, until the show.
Yeah.
It looked very interesting. I don't know if this is just my like brain rot, I guess, but it gave me very much so like Bendy and the Ink Machine, mixed with rubber like Steamboat Willie, rubber hose.
That's exactly what they were going for. Yeah.
It looked really cool. I thought it looked entertaining. I'm a big fan of stylized games. You know, if a game has a nice style to it, would rather play that than like gritty realism, which is something that I think older games have a really good charm of, because their gritty realism looked so cartoony. So I like when games like mimic stuff like olden stuff, or have like their own like unique like weird art style. And so that was something that I walked away from this. I was like, oh yeah, no, like that looks cool. It looks entertaining.
With that game, it's really like aping a lot of like classic shooter elements, and that's always had me kind of excited. You know, I love my boomer shooters, so I think that game's gonna be a good time. I've been kind of like, like I said, passively following its development for years now. So the fact that it's finally actually coming out, we got Troy Baker. Troy Baker's in it. Like, like that was so random. He's like, oh yeah, a voice you might recognize. And then it's Troy Baker. I'm like, why is Troy Baker in the Mouse Detective game? Like, okay. But like, yeah, like I think it looks really good. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I think that's one that I don't think I'm just gonna pick up and like stop playing. Like I feel like I'll play that one
Yeah.
pretty regularly. Um, but we'll just see if I mean, again, like all of this stuff is just hypothetical, right? Like I could pick up Splitgate 2 and it be the greatest game of all
Yeah,
time, and then
who
pick up
knows?
Mouse PI Detective and play it for 20 minutes and not enjoy it at all. Like there's
Yeah.
still so much. Now we mentioned it in the first section. Do you want to just real quick talk about Cosmic Invasion?
Let's talk about Cosmic Invasion because Cosmic Invasion looks great. Fighting game by Tribute, right? It's the same
Yeah.
people who did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all that stuff. Yeah, no, they're popping off with this Marvel style beat 'em up. They just announced Rocket and She-Hulk are coming to the game. Not it's not even out yet. We don't have all the characters confirmed, but they're showing off trailer. Every time I see this game though, it looks better and better. Like this game looks incredible.
I don't know if anyone's who's played Shredder's Revenge. If you haven't, highly recommend. It's so good. This game is going to be so good.
Oh yeah,
Like,
big time.
like I'm never usually the one to be like, oh, like this is gonna be great. It's kind of like, oh, this looks great, let's see, or this looks bad, let's see. This game is gonna be good. I would put money that this game is gonna be good.
It's
I
Tribute, can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong, and it's this beat 'em up, and it's in a style that obviously looks really good and has a lot of character, a lot of personality and stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and going back to what we are saying about Marvel, they've been on a crazy good string of games. Like, so
Yeah,
I'm excited. Getting more good Marvel stuff. Like they're popping off right now. Let them cook. They're making some good stuff. Um,
for sure.
Devin, did you ever play Atomic Heart?
No, I've never played
Are you
Atomic Heart.
familiar with it at all?
Not really. Like when I
I
was
yeah.
looking through, I definitely was like, oh, I know that game, but I don't
I know
know
everyone was like
anything.
really obsessed with like the robot girls from that game. But I will be honest, it's kind of like almost like Russian BioShock is kind of like the vibes that I got when I was playing it. I only played like a few hours. I didn't enjoy it a ton, but I heard a lot of people say it was really good, so I might give it another shot. The second game looks interesting. They announced it at the Summer Games Fest. They announced it and a spin-off at the same time. They announced two different Atomic Heart video games in the same show, which I thought that was interesting. Like I don't have a ton of things to say about it, but I just thought the fact that they announced two different games in the same series was kind of weird. Um,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
and then the same developers or publisher, excuse me, of Atomic Heart. Um, well, okay, let me back up. The developers of Atomic Heart also have a publishing company, and they announced they're publishing another game. So like they announced three games at this show. The third game though, the other game that's not an Atomic Heart video game called Ill, dude, that game looks amazing. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm kind of a horror baby. I'm a little a little chicken when it comes to horror, but that game looked awesome. It's so freaky and so like, oh my gosh, yeah, no, like I'm actually really excited for that. I'm hoping it comes out this year on Halloween because I'll totally make that my Halloween game.
Yeah, that
Um,
game did definitely give me some like heebie-jeebies.
yeah, the creature design is so it's so disgusting. Like I don't know, just think about it, gives me the heebies.
For
But
sure. No, for
I think
sure.
that game looked pretty good. And then okay, I won't talk about this for a long time, but did you pay attention to that Killer In trailer? The game, the social deduction game with the murder mystery.
Oh, no.
Dude,
Yeah, I
did
was
you
not sold
realize?
on that game.
Did you realize it's a Square Enix game? Yeah,
What?
I was watching these trailers back, and it opens with the big ass Square logo, and I'm like, oh, this is Square Enix.
I didn't realize that it was Square Enix.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, because remember they
that makes
they
me more excited.
remember they were doing that whole like big American like live service push with their like Western devs and stuff, and then they were
Yeah,
doing like games like Foam Stars and stuff that like didn't do well at all. So then they
yeah,
canceled all of them, but they left this one around. So like, what's so special about this game that they didn't want to cancel it? That actually has me more excited that they left this on the table after they made their big change. It looks pretty good. I mean, I like social deductive reasoning games like Among Us and stuff, so like I'm already kind of on board. And this just looks like way more depth. So if they can pull this off and make it like really good, I'm down. I'm down to try it at the very least. Um, but
yeah. I'm
it
down
looked
to
fun.
try pretty much any game. At least once.
Yeah, I mean,
But
Within reason,
But
right?
yeah, within reason. I didn't realize that was Square Enix. That makes me a little bit more excited.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, this is weird, and then like kind of tuned out a little bit.
Did did you pay attention or not pay attention, but like did you notice the two Lego game trailers?
I did. I
Dude,
did.
dude, come on. That looks good.
I'm always a fan of Lego games. Even the ones that people don't like. I don't understand how people don't like all these Lego games that I'm like
Yeah.
in love with.
No, for
Like
sure.
Scott the Woz makes his video talking about Lego games, and then like 3 days later, we get some Lego games announced that are so different than the formula that he was talking about. Yeah, I'm
Lego
excited for it.
Voyages. Lego Voyages is the one that has my attention the most. That's the two-player one where you place the little Lego piece and you like build your way through like a co-op only game. Those
Yeah,
co-op only games are pretty cool. Not gonna lie. We had
yeah, I think so. I think
you
they're
know
cool.
It Takes Two and now Split Fiction this year. I think the concept of like, hey, this game can only be played with a friend is interesting, but also just kind of like, video games are a very social thing. So like, yeah, like if I just want to get my buddies or my brother and I want to play a game, like we could go play Lego Voyages, dude. Like that looks sick. I'd love to play that with you or something.
Yeah, and those games are also so good for streaming.
Oh yeah, big
Um,
time.
and
Streamer
that's
bait
like
for
the
sure.
big for sure.
Same
Like
with like
those
Baby
games are like
Steps. That was also shown here. That's
yeah,
gonna be a big streamer bait
baby
game.
steps and like all those types of games that like like co-op that are just like stupid or like they're so entertaining like
Yeah.
A Way Out,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
those games that you have like the one person and there's like the beautiful story and these people reacting just doing silly
Right.
stuff. It makes it really enjoyable for like streamer bait. So
So I'm
well,
really looking forward to Lego Voyages like big time. And also then there's the other elephant in the room, Lego Party. Do you have any
yeah,
thoughts on Lego Party? literally
not
just
really.
literally just Lego Mario Party, not even remotely changed, and I'm so okay with that, dude. I love Mario Party more than I love like my family, so I'm okay to get more. Yeah, I'm looking right at you too when I say that. Just so much
Yeah,
more.
I wasn't really like I I was mostly laughing watching that trailer. I
Yeah,
was
it's
just
pretty
sitting
it's a
there
pretty
like,
cute trailer.
"Oh, that's funny that this exists." And then the more they showed and the more I realized, "Oh, this is just Mario
Yeah,
Party." I was
it's like
just
straight up
laughing harder and harder.
identical formula. But like, here's the thing: Mario Party still exists, so like I'm okay. Like I'm gonna keep playing the Mario parties as they come out. But like I'm never gonna complain about more fun party games, especially if this is good. Honestly, even if it's
If
not,
it's okay, if
even
it's
if it's not
good,
good, even if it's not good, I'm
it,
probably still gonna like it because it's Mario.
if
It's
it's
party.
if it's really good and like I think it's implemented well and they use the Lego name as not just the branding to make this game sell $1 trillion,
Which,
I
yeah,
will I will definitely eat my words. You guys can clip this moment in the podcast and bring it back to me. But that game I do not think is going to be good.
but if it's
But we'll
bad,
see.
that's funny too. Then we get to play the
Oh,
funny
dude.
bad game with the bad mini games. That's so much better, actually. Some of the best Mario Party mini games of all time are the terrible ones that you hate and they suck because they're so fun.
Oh my gosh. I don't have like any thoughts on that game. It's like head
You
empty.
completely
I
head
like
empty. And that's
I
funny
just
because I have
like
so many thoughts. I have so much to say, but I'm not going to. I'll save you for now.
oh,
Um,
thank you.
Other
So
games I thought looked kind of interesting because there was a lot shown off here. Obviously, the new Embark game, Arc Raiders, everyone's talking about that. Extraction
yeah.
shooter, we'll see how that goes. Mio, Memories in Orbit, I thought that looked really interesting, as well as Out of Words. That was the kind of like the claymation game. That one, or the stop motion, excuse me, the stop motion game. I thought that one looked pretty interesting. Seems to be another like co-op thing. Um, there was fractured blooms. That was the game that for whatever reason Jeff decided to say was going to be like Doki Doki Literature Club, and then it was nothing like that. I don't know where he was getting that from, but that looks super interesting. Again, I'm kind of a little baby with horror, so Doki Doki is about the scariest I can get before I actually get scared. I'm all about the existential horrors and the suspense and stuff. I don't like big scary monsters. But Fracture Blooms looks pretty good, so I'm actually excited for that too. Obviously, yeah, Shadow Dropping Lies of P DLC was awesome. Mina the Hollower also looks really good. That's the devs from the game from the Shovel Knight devs. So yeah, their new game finally getting to come out. But other than that, I mean, there wasn't a ton that I was like, this needs to be, like there was some games like Axe of Blood, the Korean street
Yeah,
fighting
that game
game.
looks
That one looked really
that looks
good,
kind of
right?
cool.
Solo dev, I
Yeah,
think he said, or maybe not solo dev, but like a small team was, I think,
I have no
what they were
idea.
saying. So small team getting behind that, and then things like Scott Pilgrim EX. Like obviously
Yeah,
getting a new Scott Pilgrim video game with Anamanaguchi making it, and also by Tribute. Like they had two games at this show.
and it looks amazing.
It does look really
I've
good.
if you've played through Scott Pilgrim vs. the World the game, you know what you're getting into. This just looks like a better version of that because that game was amazing. If you guys don't know the story, released on 360 PS3,
Yeah,
then
delisted.
went completely delisted off the market, like impossible to get. And then during the anniversary of the movie, they did a whole let's get this game
Yeah.
back and re-released it with like an ultimate edition that comes with all the DLC and everything like that on new gen consoles. And my 360 that I have in my room is actually the 360 that we have Scott Pilgrim vs. the World the game on, and I kept it because it was the only place I could play Scott Pilgrim vs. the
The
World,
only
the video,
way.
the game, or the
It's
video, the movie, the
it's
game, or
it's
whatever.
such a good game, and the soundtrack's awesome and everything. And so yeah, like bringing Anamanaguchi back to do the soundtrack again, and like doing a new thing with
Yeah.
Brian O'Malley involved. I think he's writing the story or whatever for this game. So like I'm very
Yeah.
excited. I think Scott Pilgrim really lends itself well to a beat 'em up style, obviously. So doing it again, yeah, count me in with
I
like a bunch of playable
I
characters and stuff. Like let's do it. Yeah.
it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be great. This game I'm very much so excited for. Will probably be one of two day one pickups from the Summer Game Fest main event. Um, is it time?
Is it time to talk about the other one? The other day
Is
one
it time to
pickup?
talk about
I
the day
think
one pickup?
I think it is. Let me introduce this by telling you, because if you watched the show live, this was your experience. It was a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster. So about like 20 or so minutes into the show, they bring out the actress who plays Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil 8, and she's like in character doing her acting things, and she's there to announce something very special. Capcom Steam sale. The Resident Evil games are the cheapest they've ever been. And then she leaves. And everyone's like, "Oh, we thought you were going to announce something like Resident Evil 9 or something. Like why'd they bring her out just to announce that the games were on sale? That was weird." And then like 20 minutes later, she comes out again and she's like, "I have a very special message from, Teuchi-san, the director of the Resident Evil series." And everyone's like, "Whoa, they're bringing about out Teuchi, like this is going to be something crazy." And he comes out and he's like, "Hi everybody, like, what's up? How's it going?" And he's like, "Thank you for being Resident Evil fans. We're hard at work on the next Resident Evil game, but we don't have anything to share right now. Next year is the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil, so we'll have more to say then." He's like, "But you won't have to wait too long to hear the news about the next game, we promise. It'll be ready in a blink of an eye." And everyone's like, they brought these guys out twice for nothing. Twitter was exploding. People were like, "Capcom sucks. I hate you. Get out of here. If you don't have anything to announce, get off my screen." And then, of course, the final trailer. He said, "We'll see more on the next game in a blink of an eye." We did not think he meant 10 minutes from now. Like, we did not think he meant literally right after the end of right at the end of this show, because the last game that they announced was Resident Evil Requiem, Resident Evil 9, and I did scream quite loudly. Ask Rena. It was bad. It was a whole thing. I was so hyped. I called it too, because he called it technically. He was like, "What if? What if they just announce it at the end after all these hints?" And I was like, "They're not going to. You're coping so hard right now. Get it. You're not getting Resident Evil 9." And then the trailer starts, and I could tell immediately. I was like, "This is RE Engine. This is a Capcom game." Just by like the way it looked, the way like the character models looked, the way the pixels were interacting together, I could just sniff that Resident Evil. Okay, I could sniff it out. I was like, dude, this is Resident Evil. And everyone's like, no way, this doesn't even look like Resident Evil. It's just some people in an office. And I'm like, watch, it's gonna be Resident Evil. And then they say her name, and Pastel was there. Her last name was Ashcroft. I have not played Resident Evil Outbreak, but apparently this main character in Resident Evil 9, she's the daughter of a character from another Resident Evil game, Resident Evil Outbreak. So Pastel, she knew right away. She was like, oh, they just said Ashcroft. This is Resident Evil. But then they show like the nuked Raccoon City. They show the RPD headquarters. Like, yeah, no, this is Resident Evil 9. I was blown away. I can't believe they faked us out twice, though. That's crazy. The balls it takes to do 2 fake outs? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I this trailer was I I was a little bit stunned when I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Resident Evil 9," because in Resident Evil 3, we see the nuking, the glassing of Raccoon City. Resident Evil 2, you obviously spend in the Raccoon City Police Department, in the police station, and kind of
Various
the
areas around, yeah.
facility, various areas, but mostly there. Yeah. Like when I saw the crater, I was like, "Oh, so that's Raccoon City." And then it like was solidified when you saw the RA and then like the destroyed police building.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's going to be great. Um you can ask Damien this. But
That's
I
me. I'm Damien.
have he's Damien. Um I've only ever technically played one Resident Evil game.
Yeah, technically.
Maybe two. But I've played through Resident Evil 2, and we're literally on the final boss, and we haven't played it in like 2 years.
Yep.
But, but like Resident Evil 2 has been a very enjoyable experience
Love it. I love
playing
RE2.
through, and this just looks so good.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
There's a lot of news about this. They said that it's going to be different. It's going to be another shakeup in the formula, just like RE7 was. It's going to be another kind of like interesting one. How much money you want to bet that Leon's in this game? We're going back to Raccoon City. How much you want to bet Leon's in this game?
Dude, I don't even know. Like
They gotta finish his plot, dude.
Nitro.
They gotta finish his plot, man. He's gotta be in this. There's no way he's not in this.
No, I don't know. I don't know. A shakeup in the
He's gonna be an old man, but he'll be here.
He's like
No, I think
still doing unnecessary backflips.
if this game takes place in like the same amount of time as like the Resident Evil 8 DLC, he's like 50 or 60 ish, right? Right? Does that make sense? Because he was in his 20s in
no
98.
idea.
So he was in his 20s in 98. So, if this game takes place in like 2020 something, 2030 maybe at the latest, like yeah, he's in his 50s, maybe 60s, depending on how late this game takes place. So he won't be like a decrepit old man. He'll still be, Secret Agent Leon, 60-year-old old with the same haircut.
Yeah,
but
for sure. He can't go bald.
No,
He's too
no,
funny.
no, he's gonna have the same boyish haircut he had in '98. So I think
Yeah,
no
definitely.
Resident Evil 9 though. My God, I'm so excited. It's so about time too. The question was always what was going to be next, another remake or the next mainline. And I'm glad we're doing another mainline. It feels like probably too early to start doing more remakes, especially because like the only ones left to remake are like 5 and Code Veronica. So I think you can save those for after this. I think RE9 comes first, and they gave it a date too. We get Resident Evil 9 in February. That is close. That is very close.
That's a blink of an eye.
That's he meant it was happening soon. So very excited about RE9. And that was a crazy way to end the show, especially with the double fake out. I can't believe they double faked us out. I'm gonna be talking about that for like years, dude. That's ridiculous.
Years is crazy work, but no, he's right. Like,
But like going through here, like the Summer Games Fest, it was a pretty good show. But then like I don't know, I feel like something about it. There was just so much like. Maybe it was like the way it was presented. I don't know. It just felt like it was kind of underwhelming. But then you look at it individually.
I think it was the weakest of the three.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Yeah. You look at it individually.
I think
and
even
there's a lot of
looking
cool
at it
announcements.
individually, though.
Yeah.
I think even looking at it individually, I think RE9 being the heavy hitter of that and Scott Pilgrim being the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I think the heavy hitters of the state of play are better.
Yeah.
If it's just heavy hitters, I think the Xbox showcase takes.
Oh yeah, no, me
takes
too.
the
I think the Xbox showcase was great, and we'll start talking about that in a second. I think really the only other things left to kind of wrap up with Summer Games Fest is like the Wu-Tang game that we barely saw any details of, but I'm always down for Wu-Tang. Getting them as like the music for like an action style beat 'em up or like a character action game. I don't know what that game's gonna be, but it looked nice. And then yeah, like what else? There was Street Fighter 6 DLC season 3. We're getting a lot of characters coming back. Last Flag Last Flag, the multiplayer game. It's like a spin on Capture the Flag. I interested, I guess. It looked interesting because like you like the red team and the blue team, you have to capture the flag obviously, but it looks like the teams like place the flag down. So it's not at like a set location. Like you have to like hide the flag. And so then red team needs to go like hide and go seek with the blue flag and then bring it back to their base, and like they know where their flag is, but you don't know. Like I don't know. I think that's kind of an interesting dynamic. We'll see. I don't know. But I think, yeah, that kind of wraps up what I wanted to talk about with Summer Games Fest. Was there anything else that we missed that you wanted to go back and speak on, or was that pretty much it?
Yeah, no, not really.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I
I
think
enjoyed it though.
I did too. I'm still glad I watched it. It just I do think it was the weakest of the three. And I think honestly, I think the strongest was the Xbox show.
I don't think it was the overall strongest. I think State of Play was more consistent. I think the State of Play was the best one. But I think the highs of this Xbox showcase are amazing.
I think it had
And
the
I'm not.
weakest final reveal, but I feel like everything in the middle and the stuff like that, I think it had a little bit better stuff to showcase.
Well, it was a weak final reveal because,
We all knew it was happening.
and it's a yearly franchise.
Yeah, like it's one of those
it-
things where like, yeah, and we'll start there. We don't need to end on
Let's
COD.
just start there. We don't need
So
to end on COD.
yeah,
Black Ops 6 or 7, not 6.
Yeah,
7
Black Ops
announced.
7. It's a great trailer. Don't get me wrong, phenomenal trailer, and this has so many implications because now that we have this game confirmed, we can start having the conversations on like the actual current Call of Duty timeline and how the heck Black Ops 2 can be canon and also take place 2 years after Modern Warfare 3. Like that's just a crazy amount of tech to be developed in 2 years, but whatever. They did have some hints at like future tech in MW3, so maybe they were trying to bridge the gap then, because obviously this game's been in development for longer. They knew this was coming, but yet we're getting with Black Ops Cold War and Black Ops 6 being sequels to Black Ops 1, and then Black Ops 6 being a sequel to the first half of Black Ops 2. Now Black Ops 7 is a sequel to the second half of Black Ops 2, playing as David Mason 10 years after Black Ops 2. I'm excited, but I'm reasonably excited. I like Black Ops 6. I like COD. I do get COD every year, so I'm not like some kind of COD hater. I'm what some people might call a COD glazer, actually. But and I'm like Black Ops 7. They showed all the things they needed to show. I don't like futuristic Call of Duty shooter games, but I'll still probably give this one a shot. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say about Black Ops 7. This was leaked. We knew this existed. We knew the game was Black Ops 7. We know all this stuff months ago, so none of this surprises me. And it's also a yearly game, so why would they think it was a surprise to do as the last reveal? That's my only issue with the show, is that like their next big thing, their one more announcement was Black Ops. Like, really? Okay.
Yeah, like I that's.
But again, great trailer. And
Yeah,
and
for
cutting
sure.
cutting the trailer to 9 Inch Nails was really smart because Trent Reznor did the music to Black Ops 2. So if this is a sequel to Black Ops 2 and they're cutting it to his music, he might be back. And if he's back,
Yeah.
we are in for the best soundtrack since Black Ops 2.
Since Black Ops 2, yeah.
And you know me, I'm a sucker for some good music.
Yeah, we have our big one that I think we're in
Yeah.
agreement.
I mean,
for
what else would it be?
Above season 17 of
yeah, I think.
Sea of Thieves.
Oh yeah. We want to talk about season 17 of Sea of Thieves and why that got a whole
That's-
dedicated 5-minute trailer. All right.
That's what I'm most excited for now. But the one above that and below the Gears of War stuff is obviously the big one. So we'll save that one for the end.
Yeah.
Do you want to real quick rapid fire?
Yeah, let
some
me
of
let me
these
shotgun
games
through
coming-
some of
com-
these.
The ones like coming to Xbox, like that stuff too, and like the showcases and stuff.
Okay. So you mean Final Fantasy then? You want to talk about Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Final Fantasy. Yeah, so Final Fantasy 7 remake finally announced for Xbox. I kind of figured this would happen eventually because they announced it for Switch too. So if this thing's coming to Switch too, it's probably coming to Xbox. Final Fantasy 16 though, that was the surprise. So that was the one that I was surprised
Yeah,
on, and a Shadow Drop too. Like it's out right now. You could play it right
and
now.
PC now. The
Yeah,
Xbox
well, it
PC
was.
Game Pass,
Oh
right? It's
yeah,
Game Pass,
no,
right?
it's not on Game Pass.
Oh, I
Neither of
thought it
these
was
are on
through
Game
Game
Pass. No,
Pass.
these are just launched on Xbox now. So that's why some people, there was a lot of discussions that
Yeah.
I may have been in this discussion. I may have been egging some people on who have been saying certain things about this game, but that was like the whole discussion is that no, it's not on Game Pass. So no, it is full price
Okay.
game. But it's out on Xbox. And I think that's great for all the Xbox people. I've been a pretty big, supporter of like Final Fantasy and stuff like that coming to Xbox. Even like when it was like Kingdom Hearts, I was a big
Oh,
supporter
for
of that
sure.
coming. So now, now that Final Fantasy's missed a few. I think what's interesting about this is that technically Xbox is actually the console that has the most Final Fantasy games now. Because Xbox is the only modern console you can play 13 on. Because it's
Oh,
backwards compatible on 360. So until they put Final Fantasy 13 and those games on PS5, technically you can play more Final Fantasy games on Xbox, which is crazy.
the
Um,
Final Fantasy uh platform
yeah, yeah. For now, anyways, right?
by
Um,
definition.
but I think that's cool. I don't think there's too much else to say on that. I think it was just kind of a neat thing that
Yeah.
finally happened after half a decade of waiting. Um,
Yeah, pretty neat.
but there was some other cool trailers, like yeah, getting to see more info on Ninja Gaiden 4 is always great. Very excited for Ninja Gaiden 4.
Yes.
Getting Indiana Jones DLC is cool because that game seems to be pretty popular. People really seem to be enjoying it. So more DLC, always welcome. Finally seeing a trailer for Clockwork Revolution. That game got announced ages ago, and we haven't seen anything on that. But then they gave it like a full, like dedicated, like 5 or 8 minute slot, like just to show it off. It looks pretty interesting. A lot of RPG elements and stuff. I wasn't really sold on it at the beginning. It looked kind of but then like the more they showed, it was one of those trailers that like kept opening up and opening up more layers, more layers. So I'm actually gonna keep my eye on that game. That game looks interesting for sure. And it's an NXL game, so like they make good stuff. Um, let's see what else. Oh yeah, do you want to talk about Tales of Tamriel, Elder Scrolls Online? No, I'm
Oh,
joking. Uh,
yeah. Uh, who
or the
still plays
fishing
Elder Scrolls
or the
Online?
fishing mini game in Fallout 76. I feel like some of the announcements here were only here because they're owned by Microsoft. I don't feel like we needed a whole segment on Fallout 76
Yeah,
DLC. But whatever.
yeah. Like I don't know a single soul other than our grandfather who plays the Elder Scrolls Online,
I
and
hear
even
it's
then
not
he's
bad.
like the game.
I hear
But
it's not
he
bad
even
though.
is like, I don't like the game and I don't want to play it anymore. Like
Yeah.
our grandfather.
Yeah,
I
I know.
don't. I just. This is not a game for me.
And that's fair. That's
Especially
fair.
because
Because
my
we play
biggest
it, yeah.
gaming hot take being that I don't like Skyrim, which
Yeah, that's
is
true. Yeah. And
which is
well,
my biggest gaming
we
hot
should save
take.
that for another King of the Hill actually, because I will rip you apart for talking ill of
We
Elder Scrolls.
we'll have a conversation about Skyrim at some point on
I'm
this
sure we will.
podcast. I just yeah. But what else
There was like a few
was
other like small things that I wanted to get out of the way of shotgun, and like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 launch trailer for that
very
revealing
exciting?
Mikey. That's cool. Getting a turtle in here, like the skateboarding turtle in a skateboarding game. That's awesome. And this series have always had guest characters, so very excited for that. There were some other little things, right? But honestly, we can move on to some of the big stuff now. I think I actually want to get one thing out of the way before we start going through some of the other big things. At Fate's
Yeah.
End, that is actually my biggest surprise of the show. Not aside from like the big thing, like At Fate's End looked incredible, and I don't remember what it was, but their previous game, Spirit Fair or whatever, maybe that's not what the game was, but the developers of this game, whatever their previous game was, I remember not playing it for some reason. Like I remember there being a reason that I didn't go play the game, and I can't remember what it was for the life of me. But I heard that it was a pretty alright game. But whatever they did, this new game looks incredible. Like I am glued to this game. I cannot wait for At Fate's End. Cannot wait.
Yeah, it definitely looks good. This it just visually, again, as I'm saying this, and I'll say this again, visually, this game just looks amazing. And I think when games visually look amazing, you have a fan.
Yeah.
through me. So visually looks great. Um, do you have any other big stuff
Oh well, that was all the
you really
little
want to talk
stuff.
about?
I was getting the little stuff out of the way. Now we can kind of move on to the big stuff, like the Xbox first party and the other announcements here. I mean, here I'll just start us off. Like the show opened with Outer Worlds 2, finally showing off that game,
Yeah,
and that's also how they closed too. They did a whole like presentation, and I think Outer Worlds. I didn't really care for the first game a ton. I thought it was okay. It seems weird to still be making these now that Xbox owns Bethesda and they can just make a Fallout game, but whatever. Outer Worlds 1 was fine, I guess,
yeah.
but Outer Worlds 2 looks to be a step up. I will say though, this is the first Microsoft game that's announced to $80. I feel like this is the wrong game to have at
To announce at
$80.
$80.
Like Call of
Yeah, for
Duty,
sure.
I'll be upset, but it'll make sense. That's Call of Duty. You can raise the price on that and people will still pay for it. Outer Worlds, though, like outside of Game Pass users, I think this game is actually going to do pretty poorly on Steam and on PlayStation 5 because like I don't know anybody who liked the first game enough to be like, yeah, I'm going to drop $80 on that. Like people are
Yeah,
complaining that Mario Kart costs $80. Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. Yeah,
So if Mario Kart is struggling at 80, or not struggling, but getting flack for being 80, what the heck makes you think you can charge Outer Worlds $80 prices? The only saving grace for this, right, is that Nintendo games never go on sale, but like Xbox and PlayStation games regularly do. So yes, I will be interested in playing this, but I am not a Game Pass subscriber, so I will be waiting until this game's like $30 at GameStop. Like I'm not
yeah,
spending $80. I'll just wait. I have no problem waiting. So that's my only
for
thoughts on
sure.
Outer World 2. It looks pretty good, but aside from that, speaking of sequels, High on Life 2 was shown off right afterwards. Did not know this company was still in business, so that's
After
after all the stuff with their
all
owner.
the stuff.
So we'll see how
Yeah.
this game turns out.
So that was a surprise
That was a
for
surprise,
sure.
yeah, but we'll see how it turns out
For
because
sure.
I think High on Life was a fun time, So it sequel, whatever, I'm not gonna complain. Plague Tale Legacy. I hear the Plague Tale games are really popular and really good. I've never played them, so I have no thoughts specifically. Blood of Dawnwalker. I thought it looked fine. I wasn't too ecstatic about. Um,
This I
Super
was
Meat
very
Boy,
excited for.
Super Meat Boy 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it looks so good. It
I I
looks
I
so
I
good.
thought the game looked my one complaint, my one criticism is the game is so bright.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like it does not capture the Super Meat Boy aesthetic. All I know is that Gavin is very happy.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sure. Yeah, he's a super big Meat Boy
uh,
fan.
and a super big Meat Boy fan.
Yeah.
um, he's definitely excited. I feel like the game was just too bright, and I wouldn't normally like go about saying that as a complaint because I feel like a plague is that games get like seen as super like dark and gritty and grounded. Like Super Meat Boy's whole thing is that he's a dude going through literally through hell. Like in the
I
Super
mean,
Meat
yeah,
Boy games,
literally.
there are
Yeah.
hell levels. And so it's just seeing it this way is like, okay, well, it looks a little bit too cartoonish.
Yeah,
However,
maybe.
am very excited. It does look hard, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the
I
main
mean,
part.
it seems to be they're just taking the same ideas they had with Meat Boy, but then transporting it into 3D. And I think it's going to translate very well. It looks very fun. It looks very Meat Boy, and it looks very hard. So I think that's a great. And it's great to announce that at an Xbox show too, because that was a Summer of Arcade game. So that will always have ties to like that 2009 2010 era of 360. Um,
Yeah,
which is that like that summer, like that's when Fez came out, that's when Castle Crashers came out, that's when like all that stuff. So Meat Boy will always have ties to that. So announcing that in an Xbox show, there's just something that feels special about that, I think. Um,
yeah.
how do you feel about Xbox partnering with ROG to make their own ally?
Sorry, which game?
No, so the ROG Ally, the PC handheld, and then Xbox
Oh,
is making
yeah,
is partnering with them to make one.
yeah. That was a little odd,
Well,
but
so
it's
there was the
cool.
rumors for years about Xbox making their own handheld, and I think that got canceled or something. And I think instead they're just doing this. So the
Yeah,
ROG Ally is something that already exists, but they're doing a new brand with it. It's going to implement the new like handheld version of Windows that's supposed to be better for
Yeah.
gaming. And then I think this is a little bit more powerful than the ROG Ally that's out right now. I don't know how much more, but it seems like there's some new hardware in this one, so you can kind of look at it as like a ROG Ally 2.
Yeah,
And
it
it's just
it
got the
it
Xbox
was
branding.
in my mind it was a little bit odd. Like I just wasn't expecting it and I was like, "Oh,
I think I think this
cool."
this might hint at their future plans with Xbox. I know it's been said, and I think what this may be hinting at is that there's going to be a lot more partnerships for hardware, a lot more manufactured stuff like this. I don't necessarily
Yeah.
know, especially with the rumors that like the next Xbox might not be a home console. It might be just a PC like this, because the ROG Ally, like people need to understand, the ROG Ally is not an Xbox. You do not get to play your Xbox like games. Like what it is a PC handheld, like the Steam Deck or like any of these other things. You can play your like Windows Store, like Xbox Store games on there, but if the game's not on the Xbox Store, you can't play it. You can play Steam games. You can play, um, you can emulate on this thing. You can play Epic Game Store games, all that kind of stuff. Because it's just a Windows PC, which also means this thing's going to be expensive. The normal ROG Ally right now is like $900, and so this one's better than it. I bet you this starts at 1,000.
Yeah.
And people,
That sounds right.
I feel like people are maybe getting the wrong ideas about this thing. I think they're thinking like, oh, I get to play all my 360 games and my Xbox One games. Like this is going to be like an Xbox console, but it's like a handheld. No, no, this is a handheld PC with Xbox's branding on it. So don't get your hopes up there. I still think it's cool. The ROG Ally is the best not Steam Deck handheld. I still think the Steam Deck is better, but out of all the handheld PCs that are not Steam Decks, I would go with the ROG Ally. So if this really is like a more powerful ROG Ally, it might be super worth it actually. So I think that's
Yeah,
interesting.
for sure.
Weird that it was shown off
Uh,
like this, but interesting.
Just I thought the whole reveal was weird too, but what do I know? Um they revealed Grounded 2 or the announcement trailer
Oh
for
yeah,
Grounded
Grounded
2. I
too.
feel like we kind of knew about that.
Well, no, I
I
just
did
don't
not
think
like
about
Grounded
Grounded. Yeah,
1.
I just don't think I just Grounded isn't something that interested me really.
I played Grounded 1, just did not was I just it was not fun. I
I'm
didn't
happy
enjoy
for all
it.
those who like it.
But
Apparently, Grounded One like has a really big like fan base. So if Grounded Two, I did see the Grounded Two accidentally. So like pretty much every game at this show, I think almost all of them except for like one or two, are confirmed for PS5. And I think Grounded Two was one of the ones that wasn't confirmed, but the Twitter account accidentally confirmed it for PS5. So
yeah,
it's coming.
I heard about that.
What'll likely happen, just like the first game is gonna, or the game's gonna launch into early access. They're gonna do the testing, and then once the full launch happens, it'll come to PlayStation. So if you're a PlayStation fan of Grounded, you're probably not gonna be left out of this game. I believe it's coming. I just not really something for me, to be honest. So as far as like Xbox first party goes, things that they showed off at this event, I'm much more interested in Gears, which is also coming to everything. So that'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see Gears on PlayStation. That's crazy. That's just crazy.
Yeah. Um Chronos looks I think pretty good.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty excited. I don't I again not I don't think a day one pickup, but it's giving like
Was that
old school Resident Evil.
was that the top down shooter? Was that
No,
one?
it looks like Resident Evil. Like it's over the shoulder.
Oh,
He even does
okay?
the Leon pistol up.
Gotcha.
Um
What game am I
it's
thinking of? The one where it was like kind of the top down sci-fi looking. Was that at this show, or was that one of the other ones that we just didn't talk about? I'm looking through the list. I don't see it.
I'm looking through it right now. I don't
Whatever game that was.
see it.
If you're listening to this and you know what game that is, that one looked good. I just can't think of the name of it, nor do I see it in this list. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
move
don't
on.
think it's on Xbox.
Yeah.
um should we just keep going?
Yeah, yeah, we'll keep going. We should probably talk about your fighting game now.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so excited for Invincible versus.
I have stuff to say
So
about this too, so go
I'm
ahead.
a huge Invincible fan, guys. Okay, I am like truly a huge Invincible fan. I don't know if it's been revealed or not. That if it's not J.K. Simmons, if it's not Steven Yeun, if it's
Oh,
not
I'm
Gillian
sure it
Jacobs,
sounded just like him. If it isn't,
it's exactly like them. If it's I'm hoping it's them. I'm gonna continue my statement as if it is them. But if it's not them, they're doing a fantastic job. them bringing in this cast and getting everyone to just make this game that looks fun, and it just looks fun. The combos look so satisfying to pull off. The one complaint that I have, and the one complaint that I've seen, is those super animations. The startup of them does look very Nickelodeon PlayStation All Stars. It
Yeah,
or Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl or whatever. Like it does look a little weird. Um, but it looks so good. And seeing Omni-Man in the Viltrumite attire, not even in his
yeah.
Viltrumite
I noticed
suit,
that too. Yeah, I was like, that's
I was
interesting.
like, what is this game? It looks great. I'm very excited for this. This and one other game are day one pickups from this. So
So you know who's making this game, right? Have you heard yet?
no.
So it is the original 2013 team behind Killer Instinct.
Oh
That's
my
who's making this
gosh.
game. They left the studio and they made their own group and they're making this.
KI, dude.
Yep.
What? And we put them in S tier on
We
our
did, and it's still
our
true.
ranking. It's still true. I disagree with so many things in that video, but
Yeah,
I don't
whatever.
disagree with Killer
We'll
Instinct.
make a
in
new
S
one.
tier.
We'll make a new one on this podcast, I'm sure. But
Oh, for sure, we'll have
with
to.
Invincible though, I think it's like, yeah, that's crazy. Like that's the same team, and they're doing another thing. They've apparently been working on this for a while. So I'm excited for them. I'm happy for them. Clearly they're still passionate about fighting games. So
It's better than the Invincible mobile game that I have
it's
so
better.
many hours on.
They're taking. It's clear they're taking some gameplay inspiration from games like Injustice and Mortal Kombat, and if they can do that in like a proper functioning format, I'm happy.
Oh, 100%. And the game still has that like anime fighter kind of vibe to it too.
Yeah,
I feel like
it seems
I got
pretty
like a mix.
fast.
I got like an environment of like if like MK and Injustice, like the NRS team, if they like fused their both of their IPs together
Hmm.
and then turned that into an anime fighter. Like that's how that is
Yeah,
the vibe I got
no, for
from
sure.
this game. But knowing that it's the Killer Instinct team, that makes sense because Killer Instinct is like Street Fighter if it fused with an anime fighter.
No,
It's
no, no,
like,
Devin. Street Fighter fusing the anime fighter. That's KOF.
oh shoot. Like I don't even know.
Yeah, no,
What
I'm
else
joking. I'm just kidding. But yeah. Um,
yeah, so but it's definitely like I can get that vibe from here, and just like the initial trailer I was like, oh, this art style looks amazing, and then when they cut to gameplay I was like, oh, it looks the exact same. Like it looks amazing.
yeah, it looks
I'm
good.
so
It looks good.
excited.
I'm also
It
excited.
just it's a 3v3 tag fighter of my probably favorite current running TV show. I'm excited.
You know what else was really good? That game Mudong Two Hearts, the
Yeah.
like Korean Splinter Cell, like that's the kind of vibes it gave
I
me.
I am not a big Splinter Cell fan. I just have no really exposure to it. So I kind of walked out
Oh,
of this game feeling like I was like, oh, that's cool. And then just
well,
kind of moved on with my life and
it
didn't
just
think about it
looked
again.
cool. Like it looked interesting. I'm very interested to see like how it plays and how it actually will like come out and be as a game. But the vibes I was getting were like very Splinter Cell E type vibes. So I've got my eye on that. You know, I think it looked pretty interesting.
Yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
and then oh my gosh, what's the name of the game? Game Freak's game. I don't think I posted it in this list, so I apologize. But Game Freak, the Pokemon devs, they're making their own game and it looks like incredible.
Oh, yeah, I don't see it in this list.
I'm sorry. I don't recall the name of it right now. But Game Freak is making a game. It looks a billion times more interesting than Pokemon. And a million quintillion times more visually appealing. So clearly Game Freak wasn't the problem, is all I'm gonna say. With Pokemon visuals. Because this new game looks incredible. And like, yeah, it's weird seeing Game Freak make a game not for Nintendo. But then you remember, well, yeah, Nintendo doesn't own Game Freak. They're a studio that just makes the Pokemon games, but they can make whatever they want. So clearly they've been working on something.
Yeah.
Visually it looked great. So I'm excited for it. And I'm sorry if you haven't seen the trailer, you just have to watch it after this showcase or something, because it is really good,
Yeah.
and I must not have posted it in this thread, so my bad.
Yeah, because
Didn't Yeah, must not have seen it.
did not see it. No,
Which
I was like,
rip.
that's cool though.
But yeah, no, looks
Unfortunate.
very good. Looks very good. But I think it's time for the main event. The main event of this entire discussion. Unless you have something you want to say before.
I just want to say, guys, guys, this is all I've ever wanted. Like this, this is why when I say the Xbox had the best heavy hitters, it's the Invincible game, and it's this. It's it. I knew instantly. I know what those classrooms look like. I know what the streets of Enaba look like. I know what those TVs sound like.
Yeah.
This game is the game of all time. I know I said that about what else did I say that about
Tokan.
Tokan?
Yeah.
That is a game of all time, but this is like the extra the game of all time. You do the honors.
Persona
this is your
4
area.
Revival, the Atlas remake of Persona 4, just like they did with Persona 3 Reload, 2 years ago now. Yeah, it's real. And here's the thing is this is one of those things that no matter how many times it leaks, no matter how many voice actors talk about it as if it's an already announced thing, it's still crazy when it gets announced. It's still crazy to see
Yeah.
it, to hear that song, to see those streets. It's crazy. And I think this game's a little bit of a ways out. I feel like, just judging by what we saw compared to what we saw last time with Reload, this game might be like another year at least away. But even just the fact that we are getting it, we are getting a Persona 4 remake, that is crazy to me. Persona 4 is one of the
Yeah.
single most important games in my entire life. Easily either my number one or number two favorite game ever created. And so I have some concerns about doing a remake of it, but if they can pull it off, and I think they can, because I think they pulled it off with Reload. So if they can pull this off, this is about to be a just
Yeah.
a great experience.
And I'm gonna say a couple things about Revival. I'll be brief. I just want to say for the Persona 4 fans out there who have played Persona 4, who remember some of the discussion being had about Persona 4, I want you to understand it will happen again.
Oh
Do
yeah.
not be part of the problem.
Please don't.
This game is going to be good, and it's going to be good for everyone. We're all going to enjoy it and have fun, and you're going to love the characters you love, and you're going to do that and even publicly love the characters that you love. Just don't judge people for liking characters that they like. And even if you don't like them, don't just spread hate to them for no reason. Do not be part of the problem. This game's going to be great. And also, do not spoil this game for newcomers.
Please don't
Oh
spoil.
my
This is like
lord.
this is probably I think of the three currently zeitgeisty Persona games, the ones that people consider the most relevant mainline three. This is the one not to spoil. Like if you spoil 3, whatever, there's so many memes about how 3 ends that you probably know. If you spoil 5, that sucks, but like
You lose out on such
you
a
lose
powerful
out,
moment,
but it's you lose out on some stuff, but I think you can kind of get away with it and still enjoy. Persona 4 though, so much of the point is the mystery and
yeah,
that journey
it's
to solve it. It is like one of my favorite mystery games, just straight out. It's so well done, so well crafted.
it's so good. It's so good, and like people spoil so much. And there's an event that happens in the middle of Persona 3 that gets spoiled so much, and all of the memes like talking about it, and these people don't understand. Like you're just spoiling it, and they're like, "Well, they don't understand why." It's like, well, you're making a meme about a specific thing, and you're expecting us not to put the pieces together because you don't talk about anything else. It's just
Yeah.
that. Like it's so obvious. Persona 4 guys, do not spoil that game and do not be part of the problem.
Please go in
Let's
blind
just
as much
as
as
a
you can.
gaming industry and just enjoy it. And there's going to be spoilers and stuff floating around. There's going to be leaks about stuff floating around. The Sonic racing game, there's leaks about the characters floating around. Do not look at that stuff if you don't want to. But Persona 4 specifically, just try to go in as blind as possible. It's going to be enjoyable. And you're gonna have fun. If you're a fan of the Persona series or turn-based RPGs, you're gonna love this.
Yeah,
It's gonna be great.
it's one of the better ones, and hopefully, I mean, just like with Reload, this is an opportunity to kind of modernize some of the rough edges of Persona 4 and maybe, change some things about the presentation. But overall, I feel like Persona 4 is such a strong package already that, like, if you want to, go play Golden right now. But if not,
Yeah,
if you want to wait for this experience, and I can't blame you, I have faith that Atlas should be able to do a pretty good job at it. And Atlas will be Atlas, so I'm sure they're probably going to sell Golden content separately, and I'm sure there's probably going to be like a couple script changes that piss people off. But I think if they just basically do Reload again, I'm not going to complain. As long as they're as faithful as possible to the original Persona 4, and hopefully the new voice cast does a good job. That's what I'm worried about too, because I love the voice cast of Persona 4. I think they do. They're so tied to the characters. I couldn't imagine them as anybody
it's
else. And it's different. Like with the Persona
it's what
3.
got me
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
to fall in. It's what got me to fall in love with Yuri Lowenthal. Like he's
Yeah,
my
man.
favorite voice actor, and the first role I heard him as was not Sasuke. It was
Yeah, Yosuke in Persona
Yosuke
4.
Hanamura.
I feel like with Persona 3, the voice performances maybe needed some updating and things like that. So yeah, you could kind of get away with replacing a lot of those guys. And then with Persona 4, they already have swapped voice actors. Like Teddy and Chie were recast going into Golden, and they did a really phenomenal job with the new actors they had and stuff. But like Golden, well, Persona 4 Golden, and then now Persona 5, like I couldn't see anybody else playing those characters. So that's what worries me is if those actors are telling the truth and they're really not coming back, I just hope that the new voice cast does a good enough job that I can look past that and see the game for what it is. Because
Oh,
I've
for
had these
sure.
voices for 10 years now, give or take, a little over a decade, and I'm scared to lose them. It's weird. It sounds so stupid, but like this game it means a lot to me, clearly. So any little change is going to be maybe a little bit much for me. But I'm excited to see what they do with this, and I'm hoping that just like 3, they stay faithful and they just improve what's there and maybe add some new music and some fun things, but don't drastically change the game into something it's not. Like I feel like Reload is one of
Yeah, for
the
sure.
more faithful adaptations that I've ever seen. So while still, improving the game. So I just hope that they do it more like that, more like what they did with Reload. And I'm okay, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, that was what a weekend.
Yeah, what a
Um,
crazy week.
what a crazy week. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, the day one buys are gonna be three from the state of play. I think only one from the Summers Game Fest. Oh, no, two from the Summers Game Fest, and two from the Xbox Showcase. So just to show where I stand.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, great Persona is always good to see. That Invincible game, Scott Pilgrim, uh, what's it called, Resident Evil 9, as
Yeah.
well as Tokon, First Light, and Sea of Remnants. I think that's all of them. I think that's all my day ones.
I think I'm probably interested in a little bit more games than you are out of that list, but I think it's just crazy. Like we're still getting so many games. Like so many games are coming out, and there's still so many games left to show. And this was just Summer Game Fest. Like there's still going to be more to show off at the Game Awards. So
Yeah,
it's like this is getting ridiculous. My wallet can't keep up with this. But it's cool to see, and to get to talk about these new games and talk about the games we like, and good to see these studios still pumping out good work. So I think this was a great week, and it's helpful sometimes, when you just have 3 big shows back to back like that to kind of look through the list again and kind of keep track of stuff. And Jeff said something that I really appreciated during his opening monologue at the show. He was talking about how now that we have more games than ever before coming out, now something we need to start worrying about, or not worrying about, but paying more attention to, is visibility, and highlighting these devs and what they're doing and stuff. And I really like that message because it's true. So many people like to kind of poo poo on these showcases and stuff. And it's like, well, I get that, not every game is going to be interesting to you, but I think it's important that we give these people an opportunity to show what they're working on and get a chance to sell it to us, because this is ultimately it's art. They're making art and they want to sell their art. Sure, it's for financial gain, but they're putting themselves out there. And I think, we, taking some time having this thing where we can all gather together as a community, see what these people are working on, and then discuss it amongst ourselves. It's one of my favorite things that we do every year. Both this and the Game Awards and the Nintendo Directs and the other state of plays that happen. Like, it's always a fun time. Even when controversy happens, it's just still fun to be able to discuss this stuff. So that's why I like it so much. It's important to kind of go through it, I think.
Yeah. No, for sure. Um, I think this was a great weekend.
Yeah.
Enjoyed all the showcases. And do you have anything else you would like to say?
No, I think that's it from me. I think we can call it here. This is a bit of a longer episode, guys, but I'm glad we took some time and got to
No,
talk
for
about
sure.
everything. So
Also, just all the basic stuff for ending of the podcast. Go follow us on everything. I'm no
yes,
youth. That's Fizz-sama. We're on everything. Follow us on Blue Sky. For our listeners on Spotify,
or Apple
I don't know
Podcasts.
what, or Apple Podcast or
Do the thing. Click
any
the
of those
button.
stuff.
There's some kind of plus button or some kind of follow button. I don't know. You'll figure it out. You're smart like that.
You'll figure it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
just get to us. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next week.